How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we have to talk about Luna, UST, some developments with that and with Binance. Also want to talk about how this whole thing was horrible for everyone that was invested, but it might have actually been somewhat good for the overall crypto ecosystem in a way. I want to explain that because obviously some people are fearful, thinking people are just going to get out and they're never going to trust crypto again. But there's something that can change, and I think it's changed some people's thoughts on crypto and what has to happen next. So I want to explain that. Also talk about why one really well-known trader is getting close to going all in on Bitcoin. So I want to talk about all that. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, if you've never come to the channel before, or if you're a returning viewer and haven't hit subscribe, I would highly suggest it. I make videos every single day on what's happening in crypto and the stock market, so definitely hit that subscribe button. There's also a link down there to FTX US Blockfolio. There you can get free crypto whenever you trade $10 or more, and they have 6 million users. I've said this a couple times recently, but I think it really is important when there's extreme volatility to have multiple exchanges set up, because you never know when one's going to go down or stop trading of something that you like or something that you're invested in. So you have to be careful and have multiple exchanges set up for liquidity. So definitely check that out underneath the video and check out that link. Now, the whole crypto market is looking better today. 24 hours, we're actually up 10% on Bitcoin, 11% on Ethereum, 16% on BNB, XRP's up 21. Just the further you go down, the higher it goes up, apparently. Cardano's up 26%, Polkadot's up 42%, Avalanche is up 30%. So the whole crypto market is bouncing back. Really surprisingly, the whole market's up 10% today. So I think we're in an interesting spot. Either we just hit max fear, and this was probably the greatest shakeout of all time. I mean, when you look at the longs liquidated, we had billions over the last few days. So this was either the greatest shakeout of all time, people hit max fear, a stable coin that people had, the market cap was like 18 billion, 19 billion, whatever it was, went to zero essentially. And when the top 10 cryptocurrencies fell to zero, either that was all coordinated and we're flying up from here and we just hit rock bottom prices. People saw $26,000 Bitcoin and that's the lowest, or this is a dead cat bounce. And some people are throwing money back into the market. They might short it again to try and make it fall down. Either way, I think buying and holding for the long term is the way to go because there's so much uncertainty right now. Now, the whole stock market is doing well today as well. I mean, the Nasdaq's up 3.2%. It hit 30% down yesterday, 30% down from the high. So it's time for some kind of relief rally either way, whether it stays here or not. A lot of stocks are doing really well today. A lot of small stocks are actually up 20-30%. Now Bitcoin itself is going back up to that $31,000 mark. If we turn $30,000 into support, that's great, but who knows whether that continues or, like I said, whether it's just kind of a bounce and then we fall back down. At this point, I have money on the sidelines. I also am dollar cost averaging in, so I'm happy with it wherever it goes because either I get cheap Bitcoin or, the fear is kind of dying down, and we'll return from here. Now, Binance just ceased support for Luna and UST across their savings and staking, auto invest, and dual invest. And then CZ actually spoke out about Luna and UST trading. He says he usually doesn't talk about cryptos and he tries to remain unbiased, but he felt like he needed to talk about this. So what does he say? Well, he says an exponential amount of new Luna were minted due to flaws in the design of the Terra protocol. The validators have suspended their entire network, resulting in no new deposits or withdrawals possible to or from any exchange. Some of the users, unaware of the large amounts of newly minted Luna outside of the exchange, started to buy Luna again without understanding that as soon as the deposits are allowed, the price will likely crash further. Due to these significant risks, we suspended trading. That is kind of crazy to think about. If you don't watch YouTube or you're not on Twitter, you're just a normal person just buying crypto and you see Luna fall and then fall and fall and fall, you're thinking, hey, I can get rich. I fully realized that some people saw Luna's price at a cent and thought, hey, if this just goes back up to its old price, that's 1,000x. I should put in $1,000 and then become a millionaire. that's not how it works. And then it went down 99.99% after that. He says, while Binance always remains to be neutral, helpful, and protective of all users and industry peers, we typically refrain from commenting on other projects, but he's breaking this rule. He's breaking the rule this time. He says, I'm very disappointed with how UST and Luna was handled by the Terra team. We requested their team to restore the network, burn the extra minted Luna, and recover the UST peg. So far, we haven't gotten any positive response or much response at all. He says this is very different than Axie Infinity when they took accountability, had a plan, and were communicating with us proactively. We know there are different opinions in the community. We felt suspending trading is the best way to protect all the users that were trying to buy and sell. We will continue to monitor the situation closely. All actions will be announced on Binance. So this is coming from the Binance CEO, CZ. I think this was disappointing for me as well. I mean, we saw Do Kwon say that they have a plan. Then he said, don't worry, it's coming. Then he said, study on. So he posted multiple messages for almost a day and then came out with a plan that seemed kind of, pardon my English, half-assed and didn't really seem to help the root of the problem. It didn't seem like it would be enough. And then we just didn't hear anything. Do Kwon didn't say anything. And that's when he came out with a plan, that's when I wanted to get out. It didn't seem like it was enough, and it didn't instill any confidence in me. So I understand that some exchanges are going to have to start taking this kind of trading off just to protect their users. Now, I think this is going to lead to crypto regulation. I think it was Yellen that was already talking about it, referencing UST depegging a few days ago. And some people are scared about this. I think it's actually going to be really good because it will allow large institutions to invest. I mean, most investments are regulated. Crypto isn't regulated that much. Like, I don't think anything will happen to Do Kwon. I don't think anything will happen to Terra. I don't think anything's going to happen here. I think that the U.S. needs regulation, and I think this might actually push it faster. People might push to get regulation in place faster, which is going to scare a lot of people when it happens, like I said. But all the good projects, all the top cryptocurrencies, well, most of the cryptocurrencies will be fine in the top 10 or so, maybe outside of that as well. But especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, those are going to be fine. And over the long term, this means that institutional money can flow in a lot easier and will flow in. So I think this might actually push it to happen faster. Some are saying that it's not going to happen in the next year. Some say it's coming soon. Who knows what's going to happen next? But I think it is important that that comes eventually. Now, I do want to give a special shout out to Unstoppable Domains. I will talk to you about the trader now that's about to go all in on crypto in a second, but they do giveaways all the time, and they're giving this ticket to Consensus 2022. So if you want to win one of the 10 tickets, definitely go follow them. Get your Unstoppable domain underneath the video. They have like 43 people liking this, and you can get a free ticket to an awesome conference. So they have a ton of people that follow them already, about 250,000. So super legit company. I work with them. Check out the link to them underneath the video to get a readable wallet address. But let's now move on to the trader Will Clemente that is getting close to going all in with all his dry powder to give his grandchildren's children generational amounts of wealth. So he says we're very close to the realized price, which is the aggregated cost basis for investors. It's right around 24,000. With that in mind, the market price to realized price is very close to the green bottom zone. So when you look at where we're actually at, 30,000 divided by 24, 1.25. Dormancy flow has been in the buy zone for the last few months, but is now approaching levels that have previously set generational bottoms. We also have risk reserve heading into the lower bound of the buy zone, illustrating holder confidence relative to the price. We have Mayer multiple in the buy zone, almost at historic lows, and we're approaching a 200-week moving average as well. So this is what I'm looking at the most, because this is generally where we've hit in the past. I mean, you can see here we broke through it just like on a down wick, but then came right back. So I think that this is going to be a crucial level to watch. This is around 22,000 right now. I am in a similar boat to Will, which is I'm dollar cost averaging right now. But if we fall down to 22, 24, I'll be dumping a lot more money. If we fall underneath 22 in the $20,000 to $22,000 range, I might just put, the majority of my dry powder in and buy Bitcoin. And I'll keep some because we can always fall further, but that's going to be a very important time to be going heavily into the market, because that's where we've seen the bottom. I mean, think about everything that's happened this year, right? We have war, we have inflation fears, we have supply chain issues, we have the whole general stock market doing terrible, we have quantitative tightening, we have a top 10 stablecoin that people had $20 billion in go down to essentially zero. We had a top 10 cryptocurrency that was worth $40 billion at one point go down to zero. We had all these things happen, and Bitcoin's at 30,000. Isn't that crazy? Like it was just at 44,000, and the Nasdaq's fallen about the same as Bitcoin when all this stuff has happened that's specific to crypto as well. So it's holding up really well right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of weakness. If we don't, great. If we stay in this $30,000 to $40,000 range, I'll keep on accumulating. But it's just crazy how well it's held up, Bitcoin specifically, right? So I want to average more into it. Let me know your thoughts underneath the video though. Do you want to buy more? I think now, like I said, is a good time to be accumulating for the long term, because it seems terrible now. There's a lot of fear right now. The fear index is at extreme fear, which is generally a good time to be buying. But remember what we were at our low last year, or last cycle. It was $3,000, give or take. We're still 10x that. And before that, the low was significantly lower back in that bull run before that. So even if we fall down to 21,000, right, below the 200-week moving average, it's still 7x what last cycle was. I mean, imagine the next cycle then, if we're 7x that, 21 times 7, 147. Imagine that's the low for the next cycle. We get up to 300 or 400 next cycle, and then fall down to 141 or 147. That's why you have to dollar cost average into Bitcoin, because it becomes harder and harder to over time. Next cycle, it's nearly going to be impossible to dollar cost average compared to what we're getting now, right? Like trying to get to one Bitcoin when Bitcoin's at 145,000, it's going to be insanely hard for 99.9% people. So that's why I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm going to continue to buy Bitcoin on the way down. If it stays here for months, which I think it could take until regulation or until a spot ETF is approved, or I think now regulation might have to happen before the spot ETF, or the Fed changes their tune. Maybe inflation comes down and that starts pumping Bitcoin. I think it's hard to tell exactly what's going to happen right now, but I think we are through some of the darkest days, some of the most fearful days. Even if Bitcoin starts falling down, down to 25, 24, 23, I can't imagine. I just hope there's not any kind of event like what's happened this week. It's been horrible for a lot of investors, but I think we're going to get through this, and we're going to come out stronger and come out wealthier, especially in a few years when we're at the next cycle peak. So let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much. Again, check out the links to FTX and to Unstoppable underneath the video, and I'll see you in the next one.